Hello everyone. So today we are going to study a new lesson from your supplementary reading, that is Aruna Asaf Ali, the Great Patriot. During the British rule, there were many people who were fighting for our Indian independence, and she is one amongst them. So today we are going to learn the biography of Aruna Asaf Ali. So let's get started with the lesson. Let's first start with the introduction. It is common knowledge that the British Empire spread all over the globe in the past. Everybody knows that the British Empire was spread all over the globe in the past. Our dear motherland was a part of it. Our dear motherland, that is, even our India, was a part of it in which the Britishers were ruling. Reeling under the tyranny of the oppressors, it was under the authority of the persons who were oppressing it. She found solace in the efforts of the freedom fighters that willingly shed their last drop of blood to redeem her from the shackles of bondage. Even though our motherland, our mother earth, it was under the authority of other people, authority of the Britishers, but it was still it was still comforted that there were some freedom fighters who were willingly, they were shedding their last drop of blood in the freedom fight, and she was happy that some or the other way India will be in freedom. One such luminary was Aruna Asaf Ali. One such luminary is a leader. One such leader was Aruna Asaf Ali. Even she was in the freedom struggle. The famous freedom fighter and the champion of the cause of women. Even she was called as a champion of the cause of women, and she was a famous freedom fighter. So read the following biography of this valiant woman whose remarkable achievement is etched in our history. Biography is nothing but the life history of a person is known as a biography. So today we are going to study the biography of Aruna Asaf Ali. She was a valiant. Valiant is nothing but a courageous, a brave woman. Known as the grand old lady of the independence movement, Aruna Asaf Ali, she was known as the grand old lady of the independence movement. Aruna Asaf Ali was a fiery leader. Fiery in sense, she was a very energetic leader who plunged headlong into politics at a time when the freedom struggle was raging and the youth were laying down their lives for the country's independence. She came into the independence fight, she came into the politics of fight of the freedom struggle when the freedom struggle was going in a very anger manner. It was filled with anger. All the freedom fighters were filled with anger. At that time, Aruna Asaf Ali joined the freedom struggle. Born into an orthodox Hindu Bengali family, she was born into an orthodox is a traditional, a strict Bengali family in 1907 at Kalka in Haryana. She was born in Haryana in a place called Kalka. She was born in a Hindu Bengali family in 1909. Aruna broke conventions at the age of 19. Conventions is nothing but the rules of a family, the rules. She broke all the rules at the age of 19 to marry Asaf Ali. She was married in the age of 19 and she broke all the rules of a family and she married Asaf Ali, a prominent figure in the freedom struggle and 20 years her senior. Asaf Ali, even he was a figure, he was a person in freedom struggle. He was a very important and a very famous freedom struggle fighter, and he was 20 years older than Aruna. Her marriage brought her face to face with the freedom struggle and social service which she pursued throughout her life. After her marriage, as even Asaf Ali was a freedom fighter, so both together they got into the freedom struggle and she was very much willing for it throughout her life. Aruna was always pursuing, she was always followed by the freedom fight struggle, and after her marriage also she got the opportunity to continue in the freedom struggle. Aruna Asaf Ali's first major political involvement was during the Salt Satyagraha. After her marriage, when she got into the freedom struggle, the first major political involvement, the first time when she got into political involvement in the freedom struggle was at Salt Satyagraha. When she addressed public meetings and led processions, she was prosecuted in Delhi, and on her refusal to furnish security for good behavior, was sentenced to 1 year imprisonment. As she was addressed at the public meetings, she used to go to the public meetings and she used to do processions. In that time in Delhi, when she was doing a procession, she refused to the Britishers to furnish a good behavior, for which she was imprisoned. She was put in jail. A few months later, when most political prisoners were being released, she was not released until a public agitation was launched in her support. After she was put in jail, after some months, many of the political leaders who were put with her in the jail, they were imprisoned, they were left out, they were released, but Aruna Asaf Ali, she was not released, she was yet in the jail. But after the public agitation is nothing but the public concern. The public started questioning that why she is not released, and after all those things, then she was released from the jail with the public support. In 1932, she was again arrested and put in the Delhi jail, where she went on a hunger strike. Again, after that, she used to do some processions, she used to lead the banners, she used to go for meetings, due to which again she was arrested and put in Delhi jail. In that jail, she went on a hunger strike. Hunger strike is nothing but when you don't eat any food, you starve yourself. That is known as a hunger strike. To protest against the callous treatment of political prisoners, she did this hunger strike against the callous. Callous is nothing but a very bad treatment, very bad treatment of the political prisoners. When the people who are fighting for freedom, when they are put in jail, they are treated very badly. Because of that, against that, she was going on a strike, that is a hunger strike. Her demands were conceded, but she was transferred to Ambala jail. Her demands, they were agreed. Conceded is nothing but they agreed. The Britishers ruled. They agreed that the political leaders, whoever are put in jail, the political prisoners, will be treated well, but she was shifted to another jail, that is Ambala jail, where she was kept in solitary confinement. She was kept in a solitary is nothing but single. These many days when she was in jail, she was put together with the other political prisoners. But when she was transferred to Ambala jail, she was kept solitary. She was kept single. Nobody was there with her. She was alone in the jail. After her release, she stayed away from the movement for 10 years. After she was relieved from Ambala jail, for 10 years she did not get into this movement and she stayed away from this. Something significant happened in 1942, something very important which happened in 1942, which led her to come back again into the movement. She attended the Bombay Congress session along with her husband, during which the Quit India resolution was passed on 8th August. She attended the Bombay Congress session with her husband. She had been there with her husband, which was for the Quit India resolution, was passed on 8th August. The committee had planned the hoisting of the tricolour at Gowalia Tank Maidan, but the British got wind of the plan and arrested the top leaders, including Gandhiji, a few hours before the event. So they were planning, the Quit India resolution was passed on 8th August, due to which they were planning to hoist the tricolour flag, our Indian flag. They were planning to hoist it in Gowalia Tank Maidan. They were planning to hoist the flag, but the Britishers, they got wind off and they got informed about this, and they arrested to spoil their plan, to stop their plan. They arrested the top leaders, including Gandhiji. In this moment, when they were planning to hoist the tricolour flag, at that moment, the Britishers, to stop them from doing that, they arrested all the top leaders, including Gandhiji. Even Gandhiji was arrested with them. What followed is best described in her own words. After that, what happened? After everybody were arrested, what happened? It is said by her own words. So Aruna Asaf Ali, she says that, my husband and I were not in the least surprised when in the early hours of August 9th, the police knocked on the door of the flat where we were staying. When they announced Asaf Sahib's arrest, I asked, "What about me?" So after this incident happened, they were not surprised that police would arrest them as well. So when they were at home, the police came to their house, to their flat on August 9th, and they knocked the door and they said that Asaf Ali is been arrested. So Aruna madam, she asked that, "What about me? Am I not arrested? Are you people not taking me with you to the jail?" So she says that, "There is no warrant for you, ma'am, I was told." So the police, he tells Aruna that, "We don't have warrant against you to arrest you, but we have warrant against Asaf Ali, so we have to arrest him." I persuaded the British sergeant who had come in a taxi with a couple of policemen to let me accompany them to the railway station to see off my husband. So when they told that you are not being arrested, only your husband is going to be coming with us. So she requested the British sergeant is nothing but a police officer. She asked him that he was sitting in the taxi he had come with a couple of policemen. So she asked that, "Can I accompany you to the railway station to see off my husband?" She was asking them that, "Can I come with you people till the railway station to send off my husband with you?" So dawn was about to break and there was a cordon around Victoria Terminus to keep crowds at bay. So dawn is nothing but it is early morning, early 6 o'clock. It is called as a dawn. There was dawn when they knocked the door and they were arresting Asaf Ali. It was already morning 6 o'clock. So she said it was morning 6 o'clock when we were in the railway station and there was a cordon around Victoria Terminus. It was a Victoria Terminus, is the railway station name, and cordon is nothing but a tight security. There was a tight security in the station to keep crowds at bay, to keep the crowd, the people, to keep them away from the prisoners. The cordon was allotted in the Victoria Terminus. There was a strict police there. As I walked along the platform, I saw Maulana Azad sitting at a window in a compartment of the special train and stopped to talk to him. As Aruna Asaf Ali, she walked along the platform. She was walking along the platform with her husband. So she saw Maulana Azad, even he was a freedom fighter. She saw Maulana Azad sitting at a window in a compartment of the special train. There was a special train arranged for the people who were arrested. They were taken to the jail. So there was a special train arranged for them. So Maulana Azad was sitting in the train near a window seat. As Congress president, he was to unfurl the tricolor at a public gathering at Gowalia Tank Maidan at 8 a.m. So she thought that he was the person, Maulana Azad, he was a Congress president and he was the person who had to hoist the tricolor flag in the Gowalia Tank Maidan at 8 o'clock. I made up my mind on an impulse, I am going there. So she said that as Maulana Azad is here and he could not hoist the flag there, so no worries. Anyways, I am not arrested. I am not being taken with them. So in place of Maulana Azad, I will go to the Maidan and I will hoist the flag. So she decided and she went to the place. This decision to stand in for Maulana Azad was the beginning of a chapter of heroism and unrest in the life of Aruna Asaf Ali. So this says that this decision, the decision which she took, that she will be there in place of Maulana Azad, that was the beginning of a heroism chapter. Bulabai Desai's son Dhirubai had come to the railway station. So there was a person called Bulabai Desai. His son Dhirubai, he had also come to the railway station and he drove me in his car to the Maidan. So she says that the Desai's son Dhirubai, he had come to the railway station and I asked him to drop me to the Maidan. So he took me in his car to the Maidan. The meeting was declared illegal under section 144. The meeting which was going to be held in the Maidan, it was declared as an illegal meeting under section 144. A white-skinned sergeant gave 2 minutes for the crowd to disappear. There was a lot of crowd in the Maidan, and a white-skinned sergeant, I told you before, it is a police officer. White-skinned police officer, he gave only 2 minutes for the crowd to disappear, to go away from that place, as it was declared as an illegal meeting. So he asked everybody to disappear from there. I quickly scrambled up to the dais. She went up to the dais. She went on the stage, and Aruna Asaf Ali, she went quickly on the stage, announced to the people the arrest of the leaders. Many of them did not know that the leaders who had to come to hoist the flag in the Maidan, they were already arrested. So she went on the stage and she announced to everybody that the leaders were being arrested, and pulled the cord to hoist the national flag. As Maulana Azad was not present there, she told everybody that the leaders have been arrested, and she pulled the cord of the national flag to hoist the flag. Hardly had the flag been unfurled when the police lobbed tear gas shells into the crowd. As she pulled the cord, the flag was being hoisted, but in between that, a police officer, he lobbed the tear gas shells. There are tear gas shells which police use usually to clear the crowd. So he lobbed the tear gas shells into the crowd. The men and women ran helter-skelter with tears streaming down their cheeks. The men and women, as the tear gas was being leaked there, all the men and women, they ran away from there here and there with the tears streaming their cheeks. As it was a tear gas, everybody had burning sensation in their eyes, and the tears were coming out of their eyes, and everybody were running here and there. The experience of that morning made me decide that I would not again tamely enter jail by offering satyagraha. So she's after that morning experience, after what had happened that day, she decided to herself that she will not willingly again go into the jail. She said that whatever I do, whenever I participate in a procession and thing, the police, they will come and arrest me, and I go to jail willingly. But this time I am not going to go to the jail, because I have to lead this procession. I have to lead this meeting. So she says that this time I am not going to go to the jail. Aruna's act of defense on August 9th virtually marked the start of the Quit India movement. Aruna's act, that is when she was pulling the cord and she was hoisting the flag, and she escaped from the police and she ran away because she did not want to get arrested. So that defense, that opposing what she did on August 9th, it was the start of the Quit India movement. She now became a full-time activist in the movement. Before, she was just coming and she was attending the meeting and she was going. But now, after this incident, full-time she got involved into this movement. Eventually going underground to avoid being arrested. After that, she did not want to get arrested, so she went underground. She went underground is nothing but she went and she was staying in a place where nobody could find her. So that is called as going underground. She did not want to get arrested, so she went underground. She became the editor of Inqilab. Inqilab is a magazine which was being published for the freedom fighters, so she became the editor of that magazine. The monthly magazine for the Congress, along with Ram Manohar Lohia. Even Ram Manohar Lohia, he was accompanying Aruna Asaf Ali in this Inqilab magazine editing. In the 1944 issue of the magazine, in 1944 there was a magazine issued. In that she said that she advised freedom fighters not to allow any academic arguments on questions like violence and non-violence to divert attention from the stern realities of the day. So these were the things which were said in that issue, in that magazine. I want every student and youth to think and feel as soldiers of the nation that is to come. She was saying that every student has and every youth should think that they are soldiers and they have to fight for their nation. In the meantime, the government announced a reward of rupees 5,000 for her capture, as they had a warrant for her arrest, but she was underground. She was not found by anybody. So the government announced 5,000 rupees reward for her capture. That means anybody who will find Aruna Asaf Ali and hand over her to the police, they will be awarded 5,000 rupees. She became ill, and on hearing this, Gandhiji advised her to surrender. She became very ill when she was underground. She did not get proper food, so she was very ill, and hearing this, Gandhiji advised her to surrender. I have sent you a message that you must not die underground. So Gandhiji sent her a message that you are a big freedom fighter. You have to not die underground. You are reduced to a skeleton. He says that you have become very weak now. You have to come out and you have to surrender and take care of yourself. Do come out and surrender yourself and take the prize offered for your arrest. Reserve the prize money for the great Indian cause. So Gandhiji says that you come out, and anyways there is a prize money for you. So if you come and surrender yourself, then you will be given that award. The reward amount you will be given, so you can save that money for the Indian cause. However, Aruna surrendered after hearing to Gandhiji's words, after hearing to his letter and all. However, Aruna surrendered only when the warrants for her arrest were cancelled on 26 January 1946. On 26 January 1946, her arrest warrant, it was cancelled. After that, Aruna came and surrendered to the police. So after her arrest warrant was cancelled on 26 January 1946, then she came out of the underground. After India attained independence, Aruna Asaf Ali turned to social work and helped to establish the National Federation of India Women in 1954. After all this struggle, after all the struggles of the freedom fighters, India got independence, and after independence also, Aruna Asaf Ali turned to social work. She did not stop after the India got independence, but after that also, she continued her work and she turned into a social worker, and she helped to establish the National Federation of Indian Women in 1954. In 1992, she was awarded the Nehru Award for International Understanding. She breathed her last in July 1996. She was dead in 1996. It was her last breath, and the country honored her with its highest civilian award, the Bharat Ratna, posthumously. Posthumously is nothing but an award given to a person after their death. So after her death on 1996, after that she was awarded a highest civilian award, that is the Bharat Ratna Award. So here ends the lesson. Thank you very much. If you have understood the lesson, if it was very helpful for you, please do like, share and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.